Seraph means the burning one, and the plural is Seraphim. A seraph is a type of celestial or heavenly being that originates in ancient Judaism. The term plays a crucial role in subsequent Judaism, Christianity, and Islamic religions. According to tradition, the Seraphim is the highest ranked angels in Christian angelology. In the Jewish angelic hierarchy, the Seraphim is in the 5th rank out of 10. A seminal passage in the book of Isaiah, that's Isaiah chapter 6 from verses 1 to 8, used the term Seraphim to describe 6 winged beings that fly around the throne of God, crying, "Holy, holy, holy." This throne scene, with its triple invocation of holiness, profoundly influenced subsequent theology, literature, and art. Its influence is frequently seen in works depicting angels, heavens, and apotheosis. Seraphim are mentioned as celestial beings in the non-canonical book of Enoch, as well as the canonical book of Revelation. In Hebrew, the word seraph means burning and is used 7 times throughout the texts of the Hebrew Bible as a noun. The word is usually used to denote a serpent. In the book of Numbers, the word seraph is used twice, and in the book of Deuteronomy, it's used once. In the book of Isaiah, seraph is mentioned 4 times. That is in Isaiah chapter 6 from verses 2 to 6 and chapter 14 verse 29, as well as chapter 30 verse 6. We don't really know why the word for burning was also used to denote a serpent. It may be due to a certain snake fiery colors, or perhaps the burning sensation left by its venomous bite. Regardless, its plural form, Seraphim, occurs in both Numbers and Isaiah, but it's only in Isaiah where it's used to denote an angelic being. Likewise, these angels are referred to only as the plural Seraphim. The prophet Isaiah later uses the singular seraph to describe a fiery flying serpent, in line with the other uses of the term throughout the Tanakh. There is emerging consensus that the motifs used to display seraphs in Hyksos era Canaan had their original source in Egyptian uraeus iconography. In Egyptian iconography, the uraeus was used as a symbol of sovereignty, royalty, divinity, and divine authority. Later iconography often showed uraeus with wings. In the early monarchic period of Israel and Judah, Egyptian motifs were evidently borrowed by the Israelites en masse, as a plethora of personal seals belonging to classes ranging from common folk to royalty have been discovered. These seals incorporate several pieces of ancient Egyptian iconography, including the winged sun, Ankh, the Hedjet, and Deshret crowns of Upper and Lower Egypt, scarabs, and the uraeus cobra. These uraei often had 4 wings, as opposed to the Egyptian standard, which only gave them 2. These images have been connected with the Seraphim angels associated with Isaiah's vision, or perhaps more directly to the aforementioned fiery flying serpent. But this continues to be debated, and an image of serpentine Seraphim clashes with Isaiah's own vision, which clearly envisioned Seraphim with heads, legs, and arms. Seraphim are supernatural beings who were created by God to serve and worship. These 6-winged angelic creatures continually attend God at his throne. Each set of the Seraphim's wings serves a different purpose. One set covers the face, denoting reverence and awe, and acts as protection from the radiance of God's glory. Another set of wings is used to fly, to aid their swift servitude, and the third set is used to cover the Seraphim's feet so that they can humbly conceal their unworthiness while in the presence of God's holiness. God created Seraphim as sinless creatures, but they are not to be equated with Him. The fact that Seraphim must cover their faces to protect themselves from the blinding light of God's presence proves that their sinless nature is nothing compared to the Lord's transcendent purity. In fact, the Seraphim spend day and night worshiping God for His holiness. During this perpetual worship, they call out to one another, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of His glory." The significance of the Seraphim's proximity to God, in conjunction with their revelatory praise, cannot be overstated. When the Seraphim say, "The whole earth is full of His glory," they are revealing a first-hand account of what they witnessed from the pinnacle of heaven. Through the Seraphim's supernatural perspective, we can see that God's glory is so infinite, so indescribable, valuable, and so powerful that it cannot be contained in a single realm. His glory bursts through the heavens, unfolds through the spiritual realm, and overflows into the whole earth. This revealed glory gives us a sacred glimpse of a holy God. We also find the Seraphim in Judaism. The 12th century scholar Maimonides placed the Seraphim in the fifth of 10 ranks of angels in his exposition of the Jewish angelic hierarchy. In Kabbalah, the Seraphim are the higher angels of the world of Beria, whose understanding of their distance from the absolute divinity of Atziluth causes their continual burning up in self-nullification. Through this, they ascend to God and return to their place. Below them, in the world of Yetzirah, which means formation, are the Hayot angels of Ezekiel's vision, who serve God with self-aware instinctive emotions. The Seraphim are part of the angelarchy of modern Orthodox Judaism. Isaiah's vision is repeated several times in daily Jewish services, including at Kedusha prayer as part of the repetition of the Amidah, and in other prayers as well. Conservative Judaism retains the traditional doctrines regarding angels and includes references to them in the liturgy, although a literal belief in angels is by no means universal among its adherents. Adherents of Reform Judaism and Reconstructionist Judaism generally take angels as symbolic. A Judean seal from the 8th century BCE depicts the Seraphim as flying snakes, yet having human characteristics. In Islam, the bearers of the throne are comparable to the Seraphim. These are described with 6 wings and 4 faces. In a book called Book of the Wonders of Creation and the Peculiarities of Existing Things, these angels rank the highest, followed by the Spirit, the Archangels, and then the Cherubim. The bearers of the throne are entrusted with continuously worshipping God. Unlike the messenger angels, these remain in the heavenly realm and do not enter the world. The Seraphim are directly mentioned in Hadith from Al-Tirmidhi about a conversation between Muhammad and God during the night journey concerning what is between the heaven and the earth, often interpreted as reference to the exalted assembly disputing the creation of Adam in Surah 38-69. Specific archangels like Jibrail and Israfil are sometimes identified as Seraphim. Also, according to Islamic tradition, angels were commanded to prostrate before Adam. However, Iblis refused, as he boasted about himself being a seraph created from celestial fire and being more excellent than Adam. The affiliation of the Seraphim is not always clear, and sometimes they are also identified with the Cherubim. What does the Bible say about the Seraphim? The Seraphim make their scriptural debut in Isaiah chapter 6. There, we see God preparing Isaiah for prophetic ministry during a critical time in Israel's history. King Uzziah, who had reigned as one of Judah's greatest kings for over 40 years, had just died and left the wayward nation without a strong leader. God needed to get his people's attention and draw them back into a right relationship with himself. For that task, he chose the prophet Isaiah to speak on his behalf. But before Isaiah could be used to prophesy to a sinful nation, God first needed to reveal to him the depth of his own uncleanness. This is what Isaiah said of his experience. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord, high and exalted, seated on a throne, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above him were seraphim, each with 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their faces, with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they were flying. And they were calling to one another, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of his glory. This is found in Isaiah chapter 6, verses 1 to 3. The Seraphim's revelation of God's holiness elicited a physical reaction from everything around them. Not even the earth could remain still at such a proclamation. At the sound of the Seraphim's collective voice, the doorposts and the thresholds shook, the entire temple filled with smoke, and Isaiah was undone. "Woe unto me!" he cried. "I am ruined, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among a people of unclean lips, and my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty." The Seraphim helped Isaiah see the holiness of God in such a way that it exposed the deepest, darkest places of his own heart and woke him up to the stark reality of his own inadequacy. But these mighty servants of God didn't leave Isaiah in his state of desperation. Upon hearing Isaiah's confession, one of the Seraphim removed a live coal from the altar of God, touched Isaiah's mouth with it, and said, "See, this has touched your lips. Your guilt is taken away and your sin atoned for you." The Seraphim were a powerful tool in God's hand to reveal his transformative glory. With his sins cleansed, Isaiah could now speak directly to God. When God called out for a prophet, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" the purified Isaiah was able to accept the prophetic commission to the people of Israel by responding, "Here I am, send me." Angels are a topic of fascination with the people around the globe, and many enthusiasts study angels and venerate them as creatures worthy of worship, prayer, and attention. But ask any angel and they'll quickly inform you that attention and worship is the last thing that they desire. So what role should Seraphim play in the life of a Christian? While serving God through worship, the Seraphim remind us that God is holy, holy, holy. Their whole job is to honor God with that proclamation and to make his holiness known to everyone who dares to approach the throne of God. That is an overview about the Seraphims. Let us know what you thought about this video in the comment section below.